Wow. Well, here we are, folks, in the RCSparks studio, and look what I have on the bench. Doesn't it look magnificent? This is our Optimus Prime tribute truck. It's certainly not Optimus Prime, it's our own take on it. But the RCSparks studio wanted to do something extra special cool with our truck Overkill. We transferred it into HD Overkill, and now we have Optimus Overkill. What is overkill about this vehicle, you may ask? Well, we certainly did go overboard on quite a few things. This top body has actually been hand painted. It was airbrushed by my friend Ryan at Bloodshot Airbrushing. Just a fantastic job. A lot of the aluminum pieces I've been collecting on the internet, getting it from special places for many, many years. So everything coming together on this truck is fantastic. Really, what I'd like to do today is go over the truck in its whole entire being or state. Also, I know people have had questions about the smoke system and when the heck are we going to have this on the trail? Well, soon enough, my friends. I am almost done. In fact, today I am closer than I have ever been, and I'm telling you right now, we've got some really neat things to show you. So just to go over it quickly for those that don't know about Overkill here, or Optimus Overkill, this is completely a 1/10 scale radio control custom build. Really, it started off as a truck called an Axial Dingo, which is a 1/10 scale 4x4, and over the last several years, we've been modifying it and making cool RC adventure stories with it. And really, we've had it on tracks, we've had it blowing snow, we've had it plowing snow. We've done so much with this truck, but now as an Optimus Overkill, we're going to be able to do some pretty unique adventures. Check out all the mini chains and hooks on the back. In the back, let's talk about what it's powered with first. These are dual 3-cell lithium polymer batteries, 4,000 milliamp, 20C each. So that's a 6-cell. I chose to go with the Venom batteries. I've got some pretty good results out of them before. On the inside, there's a few modified Tekin Gen 2 RX8 ESCs, which are electronic speed controls. These are the brains. And really, even though each one of these has a power regulator or a BEC inside, we went ahead and popped in underneath the chassis here a Castle Creations Pro BEC, because the BEC will be able to power all the servos independently without them having to run through the brains that are telling the motors to work. Motors, you say? How many motors do you have in there? Well, like any big heavy rig, we wanted it to have lots of power, and Overkill has always had plenty of power in the past. Check this out. I'm going to lift up the front. Now, viewers of the show are already familiar with Project Overkill having 4 motors. 4 brushed motors is what we've installed this time, with 2 transmissions. Each transmission is geared the same. Now, the brushed motors themselves are 35-turn heavy duties. These have tons of torque. Why would you use 4 motors, people may ask? Does it make it faster? And that's a valid question. You would think in some cases, yes, it would make it faster, especially if these giant tires from RC 4-wheel drives, these are the rock crushers, were stuck in mud. Being on aluminum beadlocks and being such a large tire, they're quite heavy. So having these in sticky Alberta mud where I live can be really a detriment to a drive line. So instead of just having 1 motor, we've got 2 motors with an all-steel transmission. Our RP gears inside, all heavy duty, same with the slipper clutch. Being the way it is, it's got plenty of power and plenty of torque down to the steel driveline. Check it out on the front. We have Vanquish aluminum front axle housings running straight into a steel drive shaft that goes up to the first transmission. A small drive shaft in the middle. That's what this is here, with 2 collars. This is a plastic drive shaft, very small. It is a breaking point if we do need one, if there's too much torque. Back into the second transmission and down the steel drive line. through to a double-sided plastic axial housing with a differential in there. Same with the, it's just a throughput axle basically, where we have another steel drive shaft that goes into a back aluminum Vanquish axle housing. Again, why have we done this? Simple for strength. Winch in the back, of course, on a rock armor bumper. This is aluminum. A special chassis bucket made by my friend Craig. This was actually on his truck, but he so nicely donated it to us to put onto Overkill. It fit perfectly in these shock hangers. Now, I'm still lining up the suspension. The reason why we have it on an angle like that is when the suspension is in full cycle, you'll see the shocks come down there, it straightens out, right? So the angle is meant to be there for when the tires drop down. So there we are. With this fitting back there, we're able to put the 2 batteries, the 2 ESCs. The receiver I'm using is an 8-channel receiver right here. I'm just using it on a dual stick. I find dual stick easier to use with rear steer. Of course, all of this being rear independent steer. These will steer all at once, independent from the front axle. Now, inside I have a smoker kit. This smoker kit is used for normally boats. I've plumbed in the piping here so we can run it down to the exterior stacks. This is almost completed. All the wiring's completed. The smoker does run off of the throttle control, right off of this motor. But just in testing with the fan, because what this is an oil tank with an element, and when it's called upon, this fan blows, it pushes pressure up through these stacks, up, down, out, and then of course, like I was saying, up and out the stacks. But what I have to do today is I have to drill a hole in the top for easy filling. Now that I've plumbed it in, I don't want to keep pulling this on and off because it'll just kind of break down. I've had this system before. If you plan on using an oil smoker system, be forewarned. If you tip your truck on the side, it can pour out through the fan, all the oil, right? So you'd get it all over your truck. If your ESC or motors or anything like that is not clearly out of the way, you're gonna have a huge mess on your hands. Thumbs down. But it's a cool effect if you've got a nice trick truck like this to have some fun with. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill a hole in here now that you guys have the overview of Overkill. And before the end of this video, I want to see that smoke coming out the top there. So let's get to work. Time to bust out the drill. Alright, so this is where I need to drill, and here is what I'll be using. Smoke fluid for train systems. Really, the nozzle, the spout is quite small. The opening is very small, so all I need is a pretty small drill bit. Done? There we are. So we'll add some smoke fluid. Filling it up. There is a small piece of fiber on the inside that helps absorb some of the fluid. It's like a wick. There we are. Now I'm going to plug in the truck itself. My radio is already turned on. Quite a few cables to come back here. But zip ties are a wonder. You can make a trunk. Alright, on. You can see that with the BEC already installed, you can hear everything has power. But there's no throttle. There's no ESC turning on. So we'll turn on the ESC now. These will straighten out. Oh, they were straight already. Perfect. And there we go. So now we've got power here, but I've got no pinions attached. And the reason I don't have pinions attached up to the spur gear is because I don't really need forward and backward motion with the truck right now. I need it to be stable and secure. So to be safe, without this jumping forward, no drive gears on this. So now that we have some oil in the tank and we've got these fittings already in place, all I have to do is properly mount the truck body and give her a bit of fuel. But I know you guys will be interested, so let's get a little bit closer, nerd out, and have a look at what's actually happening over here when you have a smoke kit. Alright, I'm just sealing up that hole where I filled it up with a small screw and an O-ring, nice and tight. I don't want any of the smoke to be escaping from there. So what goes on here is I'm going to actually give it some throttle with no pinions on there. You're not going to be able to see much moving. You might see the flat spot of this motor shaft spinning around, but what you will see is about halfway with the motor input, this fan is going to start to spin. Now I do need to adjust this so this starts to spin even when it's just on low throttle, but right now it's set to half throttle. Check it out. So the motor, you can see the shaft spinning right here. Here we go. Activate fan. Now inside it's heating up. I'm just being slow on the throttle right now. That's why it's not happening quicker. This will get darker and darker. But what it won't do is roll black coal. I know everybody's like, why isn't it black? You should have black smoke for a diesel. If it was running efficiently, it would be black smoke. You'd be rolling coal. And yeah, that would be cool. And this is not a diesel though. This is just pretending. Kind of looks like I've blown a head gasket. But at the same time, it's for effect. And no, you can't drop dye into the oil. You can run some black yucky car oil in there if you want. I've never tried it. I don't plan to because this is generally non-toxic. There's enough burnt oil in the air already. So I'm cool with this. I want to try out putting the body on it. This is a little bit quicker than I would want it to run at. I will adjust it to be lower, but if we put the body on it, I think we're going to get a pretty neat effect. Alright, so what I'm doing here is just putting in a short piece of tube. It's going to be a connecting tube, and I will have a better finished look when I'm done. But this is basically what it is. Braided plastic tube. Pop it into here. Give it some space. I will be coloring this and filling it in, but at least you know what it is. I'm going to have a little bit of leakage around the outside. Hopefully it's not too bad. But let's back it up and see the smoke show. So there you go, my friends. An oil smoker inside your semi-truck. If you guys have any idea how big the Spectrum DX18 is with the dual sticks, you'll have an idea of how big this truck is. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hopefully you've learned some new stuff today. Tell me, if you were going to have an RC truck, would you want a 6x6 with 3 axles or a 4x4 with 2 axles? Post up what you have in the video comment section below. Let me know. I'm interested. You guys come and see my stuff. I want to know some about your stuff. Nice. Man. If we could roll coal, that would be awesome, but for now, this will certainly do. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's show. If I've earned your subscription, I do appreciate it. And of course, we will see you in the next episode of RC Adventures. Get outside and have some fun with RC. Bye!